Hello, my name is Dr. Yaya Sissoko. Today we are going to talk about chapter 4, the supply. When we say supply, we are talking about the producer or seller side who is going to provide the product to the market. So what is the quantity supply? The quantity supply is a more of the good that sellers are willing and able to sell. For instance, you know, dealing with the auto market, GM is willing to sell 1,000 cars per month, for 500 cars per month, Toyota 700 cars per month, Honda 600 cars per month. With respect to the law of supply, other thing equal, meaning that so price of related good doesn't change, technology doesn't change, price of resources doesn't change. When the price of the good rises, the quantity supply of the good will increase. When the price fall, quantity supply will fall as well. So this meant that there is a positive relationship between the price and the quantity. So the law of supply is the positive relationship between price and quantity supply. Supply is the relationship between the price of a good and the quantity supply. So supply schedule is a table with the price of the good and the quantity supply. So the supply curve is a graphical representation of the supply schedule. We're going to put the price on the vertical axis and the quantity on the horizontal axis. So the individual supply is a seller individual supply. For instance, you know, if General Motors will supply 1,000 cars per month, that's individual, and then Ford will supply 500 cars per month. Figure 5 summarize Ben supply schedule and supply curve. With respect to the supply schedule, we have the price of ice cream cone and the quantity of corn supplied. For instance, at the price of $0, Ben supply nothing. At the price of 50 cents, it supply nothing. At the price of $1, it will supply one cone. At the price of $1.50, it will supply two cone. The price of $2, it will supply three cone. The price of $2.50, it will supply four cone. At the price of $3, it will supply five corn. So we can see that as price of corn increases, the quantity supply of ice cream cone will also increase. So this positive relationship between the price and the quantity supply is known as the law of supply. So with respect to the supply curve is a graphical representation of the supply, of the supply schedule. We have all the seven supply schedule: one, two, three, four, five, six, seven will be represented on the graph. So for this graph, to construct the graph, we are going to put the price of ice cream on the y-axis or vertical axis, and we are going to plot the quantity of ice cream cone on the horizontal axis or the x-axis. So at the price of 0 or 50 cents, then we supply zero quantity. For instance, at the price of $2, Ben will supply three cone, for instance. So $2, Ben is going to supply three three cone. At the price of 250, Ben is going to supply four cone, for instance. So 250 and 4. So therefore, An increase in the price from $2 to $3.50 led to an increase in the quantity of corn supply from 3 to 4. Therefore, the supply curve is upward sloping or positively sloped because of the law of supply. So because of higher price increase, the quantity supply, the supply curve slope, upward or positive slope. Figure 6 represent the market supply as the sum of individual supply. If we have only two suppliers in the market, Ben and Jerry, so we're going to take the sum of Ben's supply with Jerry's supply to get the market supply. For instance, the first graph is the supply of Ben. You can see that at $2 a corn, Ben will supply 3 corn. At the same $2, Jerry will supply four corn. So to derive the market supply at $2, we take so the supply by Ben 3 plus the supply by Jerry 4, which is equal to 7. So at $2, Ben and Jerry will supply all together seven corn in that sense. 7 corn. So 7 corn will be the market supply for ice cream. With respect to the shift in the supply, there are two types of shift in the supply. Increase in the supply. So any change that increase the quantity supply at every price, supply curve will shift to the right. So for instance, a new and better technology will increase the supply curve, and supply curve will shift and move to the right. On the other hand, a decrease in the supply, any change that will decrease the quantity supply at every price will shift the supply curve to the left. For instance, if the number of sellers goes down, so supply curve will decrease and shift to the left. Exhibit 7 show the different type of shift in the supply. Well, for instance, S1 is the supply curve. Whenever there is an increase in the supply curve will shift from S1 to S2. For instance, increase in the number of sellers, decrease in the price of input, decrease in wages, decrease in energy price, supply curve will increase and shift to the right and will move from S1 to S2 in that sense. So on the other hand, so a decrease in the supply curve will decrease and shift to the left. And the curve will move from S1 to S3. For instance, so if the price of energy goes up, if wages goes up, or if you have a bad technology, or if the number of sellers decrease, supply curve will decrease and move from S1 to S3. So the increase from S1 to S2 is known as a positive shift. Supply will increase and move to the right. The increase from S1 to S3 is known as a negative shift. the supply will decrease and move to the left. There are four variables that can shape the supply curve. Those variables are input prices, technology, expectation about future, and the number of sellers. So if this factor increases, supply will increase and shift to the right. If this factor decreases, supply will decrease and shift to the left. So with respect to the input prices, supply is negatively related to input prices. Or for so highest input prices will decrease the supply curve. For instance, if price of labor goes up, or price of energy goes up, or price of transportation goes up, and then so supply will decrease and shift to the left. So because of the higher cost of production, businesses are going to produce less, and supply will decrease and shift to the left. So on the other hand, technology, especially advance in technology, new and better technology, productivity will increase. Business firm will produce more. This will increase the supply and shift to the right. So with respect to the number of sellers, an increase in number of sellers, so we have more businesses supplying the product, so supply will increase and shift to the right. So this will lead to a positive shift in the supply. So table 2 summarize the variable that influence seller. For instance, a change in the price of the good itself will lead to moving along the supply curve. This means that the change in the price of the good will never shift the supply curve. Increasing the price of the good will lead to increase in the quantity supply. Decrease in the price of the good will lead to decrease in the quantity supply. Any other factor impacting the supply beside the price of the good, such as input prices, technology, expectation, and number of sellers, will shift the supply curve. For instance, the relationship will be a decrease in the a decrease in input prices, so production will increase and supply curve will increase and shift to the right. So new and better technology will increase production, supply curve will increase and shift to the right. So if a firm expect lower prices in the near future, the current supply will increase and shift to the right. If the number of sellers goes up, so the supply curve will increase and shift to the right.